What to do when your child is tantruming and any way you're trying to help is making it worse. My name's Jodie Thornton, and I want to talk about this because it's so it makes it so difficult because we know that they're overwhelmed and we want them to be able to come to us with their big feelings. So in those moments where it feels like it's making it worse, it can actually really rattle our sense of like, how am I giving them the message that no matter how big their feelings are, they can come to me? And particularly, what does that mean for like whether they will come to me with their problems when they're older, right? We really want to be looking at that. Now, secondarily, the more we can help our child in those tantrums, the less time they spend dysregulated. So that obviously has really immediate benefits as well. So most often when we're trying to help our children and it's making it worse, there are a few things we want to check, because the most common things are, first of all, that we are too close to them. So our presence is actually dysregulating. So every child has a like personal space allowance that they require when they're upset. Now, tantrum to tantrum, that might change, but most kids have like a standard set point of, this is how close I want you to be when I'm really overwhelmed. And so if we're trying to help, so you might have like a strategy you're trying to use, and as you go in, so like maybe you're trying to give them a cuddle, or maybe you're trying to sit next to them, whatever it is, maybe you're getting too close, right? And that's more, it's closer than is comfortable for your child when they're overwhelmed. What we want to do is make sure that you can tell from their body language how close is helping versus not helping. So if you're too far away, your child will not sense that you're there to help, either that you're just waiting for it to blow over, or they may even not be paying attention to the fact that you're there because you're further away than what they need. So we want to go as close as we can, but if they're giving us any kind of body language or even intensity of the tantrum is increasing based on how close we are, come back a little. So keep coming back until it feels like, this feels like a good sweet spot where I'm close enough that I'm helping, but I'm not so close that I'm making their dysregulation worse. So that's the very first thing to think about, is where am I spatially in comparison to where my child needs me to be when they're overwhelmed. So that's our first thing. A second thing is, let's look at what you're saying, because often what we're trying to say in a tantrum is we're trying to tell our children either that the feeling that they're having is not matched to the situation, or that they should feel better because it's going to be better later, right? There's some kind of message we're giving is that don't worry about this feeling. And so what we really want to be doing is validating the feeling. And if you think that the feeling isn't valid, if it seems irrational or it seems disproportionate, that means you need to go deeper and figure out, what is this emotion really about? Because once you get to what it's really about, you will see that it's valid. You will see that it makes sense. And so that's our next thing, is really to look at, are the words I'm using in some way telling my child that their feelings should be different to what it is. We don't want to be telling our child that they need to change how they're feeling in any way. The third thing we want to think about is the quantity of words you're using. So I talk a lot. I talk fast and I use a lot of words to say things that could be said in many fewer words. It's how I am. Maybe that'll change over the years, but at the moment, it's how I am, and it's been how I have been for a lot of years. When my children are tantruming, I'm very mindful to actually think through my sentences before I say them, so that I'm using shorter sentences to say the same thing. So we want to look at, particularly the more dysregulated your child is, the less they can concentrate on a longer sentence. So we're looking for succinctness there. The fourth thing what we want to look for is, how is your tone of voice? Because sometimes we'll be saying, I'm validating your feelings. Like, of course you're feeling sad, sweetie, right? But you're saying it like this. Of course you're feeling sad, but the thing is, you see how I'm, like the tone, even before I move into, but the thing is, right, which I'm obviously going to try and change how they're feeling. Even before I move into that, you could hear in the tone of my voice, I'm not with them in that feeling, right? We want it to be feeling like I'm here with you in this feeling. Now, That doesn't mean you're experiencing the feeling, but you're with them while they're in this feeling. Ideally, we want your tone to be low, slow, and regulated, right? That low and slow helps to give them a signal that everything is safe and it's going to be okay. That tone of voice can really help. The next thing we want to look at is in terms of if you're trying to help and it's making it worse, we want to look at how comfortable are you at actually helping them to regulate? Do you have the skills to be able to help them regulate, or are you trying to make the tantrum stop, or are you trying to like find a magic word to like take the fuse out of this tantrum? We really want to get to a place where you feel like, I know how to use my body language, my tone of voice, and my word choice. I know how to do that in a way that helps them to regulate. Once you feel comfortable with that, it's much easier for you to give off a vibe that this is hard for you and I am here and we are going to work this through, right? It's a different vibe to you're tantruming and I don't want you to be upset and I really want to help and what I'm doing is not helping. You see, like there's that vibe, right? It can really come across in how, even if it's not what we're saying, the vibe can come across in our body language. So we really want to look at that. The next thing we want to look at is, are you trying to help your child when you actually don't have the capacity to help? So if you are emotionally spent for the day or the week, or if you actually need to be doing something else, so you need to be stirring the dinner, or you need to be doing something else because of the timing of something, if you're trying to overextend yourself and always help your child in their tantrums when actually you don't have the space to do it, you cannot fake empathy. If you do not have the space emotionally and time-wise to do it, you cannot fake it. They know you, and actually, even if it wasn't your own child, like we can sense whether you're genuinely having empathy or whether you are like having good intentions but not actually able to be there with us in the feeling. And so really getting comfortable that the purpose of holding space for your child in a tantrum is not that they are never ever overwhelmed without any like effective assistance. The purpose of holding space for your child in a tantrum is to help them get to regulated, and our bigger goal here is to help them to be able to recognize their feelings and articulate them before they get overwhelmed. So if there are times where you can't tend to a tantrum because you are emotionally spent, or the baby needs the nappy changed urgently, or there's something going on, you don't have to feel pressured that you need to tend to every tantrum. A big goal, I'll say side note, the reason ideally we would be tending to every tantrum, but that's different to how we have set up our society, where one adult or two adults are responsible for the emotional responsiveness for one or more children. That it's just not physically possible for one or even two adults to always be emotionally responsive. So what we're doing we're accepting that because society has set us up in this way where it is actually impossible for us to be responsive 24/7, we're recognizing that, we're being responsive as often as we can be, and then separately we're building up our children's skills so that they're aware of their feelings and can articulate them before they get overwhelmed. Because ultimately where we want to get to is your child is not having to tantrum, right? That's where we want to get to. So those are the common reasons that I see where your child is tantruming, you're trying to help and it's making it worse. If none of those seem relevant to you, please do send me an email. So you can send me a message at jodithornton.com/contact. Just send me a message about, this is what's happening. I've tried all the things, or this is not working for me, and I really need some help on what else it might be, and I can see if I can figure out from your email what it might be, and if not, we could jump on a call and have a quick chat. Now, if you need some support to work on the skills to help your child regulate, or the skills to help your child identify and articulate their feelings before they get overwhelmed, I would love to help you with that. So you can book a free call at jodithornton.com /call, CALL. You can book a time to chat with me about where you're up to, which skills you need to focus on next, and I can let you know how I would help to get you to that place where you're really skillfully helping your child to develop that emotional awareness, and also supporting them to regulate when they need it. Thank you so much for watching.